My brother, my sister, I want you to hear me today. God sees everything. You might be walking through a season of hurt, a season where people have lied on you, betrayed you, walked away from you like you were nothing. And in the quiet of your heart, you've wondered, does God even see what they did to me? You've asked yourself, does he care? But let me remind you, he is the God who sits high and looks low. He is not a distant God. He is a present help. And he has been watching over you the whole time. You see, people think they can do what they want and get away with it. They smile in your face and stab you in the back. They take your kindness for weakness, and when you've given them your best, they repay you with betrayal. But I want to tell you something. God saw it. He saw the tears you cried when nobody else did. He saw the nights you couldn't sleep because your heart was heavy. He saw how you kept your mouth shut when you could have exposed them. He saw how you stayed faithful even when you felt broken inside. And I need you to know today, God does not forget. The problem is we get caught up looking for human justice. We want to see them pay for what they did. We want to see them suffer the way we suffered. But let me tell you something. God doesn't operate on human timing. Just because it looks like they're getting away with it doesn't mean they are. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that is exactly what he will reap. That means every lie, every manipulation, every injustice, they will have to answer for it. But the key is, it's not your job to make them pay. It's not your job to make them see they're wrong. It's not your job to prove to them that you were the one who was real. God will handle it. Oh, I feel this for somebody right now. You've been wrestling with the pain of what they did to you. You've been trying to understand why God allowed it to happen in the first place. And I need you to hear me. Just because God allowed it doesn't mean he approved of it. Sometimes he allows people to hurt you so that he can remove them from your life. Sometimes he allows the betrayal to position you for something greater. If Judas had never betrayed Jesus, the cross would have never happened. And if the cross had never happened, salvation would not have come. That means the betrayal wasn't the end. It was a setup for something greater. Some of you are trying to hold on to people God exposed. You're crying over relationships God has already judged. He showed you their heart. He let you see their true colors, and yet you still want to keep them close. But I hear the Lord saying, let them go. You don't need to hold on to people who were only meant to be in your life for a season. When God exposes something, he is giving you a warning. And if you don't listen to that warning, you will delay the blessing he has for you. Stop crying over people he removed. Stop chasing people who walked away. Stop trying to explain yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. God is your vindicator. Listen to me, sometimes God allows people to think they got away with it because he's given them a chance to repent. He is merciful even to those who have done wrong. But don't mistake God's patience for permission. If they don't turn, if they don't make it right, he will step in. And when he does, it won't be pretty. That's why you don't have to waste your time trying to prove yourself. You don't have to keep looking back, wondering when they'll realize what they did. When God deals with them, they will know. When he moves, they will see it. But by the time they realize it, you'll be so far ahead, so blessed, so favored, that you won't even be thinking about them anymore. Somebody needs to get this in their spirits. God is handling it. He's been handling it from the moment it happened. You might not see it yet, but he is working behind the scenes. That's why you don't have to be bitter. That's why you don't have to waste energy plotting revenge. That's why you don't have to walk around with unforgiveness in your heart, because God is in control. You just keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing, and keep moving forward. God is getting ready to show you why he let it happen. He is getting ready to lift you up in front of the very people who tried to break you. And when he does, all you'll be able to do is lift your hands and say, thank you, Lord. I know you feel it, the weight of it all, the betrayal, the disappointment, the heartbreak. You've been carrying it, wrestling with it, trying to figure out why it happened, why they did what they did, why God let it happen. But let me tell you something today. The battle is not yours. You don't have to fight this one. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to spend another sleepless night replaying the hurt over and over again in your mind, because God is already handling it. See, we have this tendency to want to fix things ourselves. We want to make people understand our pain. We want them to see what they did, to acknowledge the hurt, to feel what we felt. But let me ask you something. What if they never do? What if they never say sorry? What if they never change? What if they never realize how badly they hurt you? Are you going to stay stuck? Are you going to put your future on hold, waiting for people who may never give you closure? No, because God didn't call you to fight battles that He already declared victory over. Oh, I feel this so strongly. Somebody has been exhausting themselves trying to prove their worth to people who were never meant to see it. You've been draining yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, trying to make people understand what they don't have the capacity to comprehend. But hear me today. God saw it. He saw the betrayal. He saw the injustice. He saw the lies. And He says, stand still. I've got this one. The problem is we don't like to stand still. We don't like to let go. We want control. We want to know when God is going to move. We want to know how He's going to do it, but that's not how faith works. Faith is when you step back and say, God, I trust You even when I don't see it. I trust You even when it feels unfair. I trust You even when I don't understand. And when you do that, when you let go of the need to control, that's when God steps in and fights on your behalf. See, the enemy wants you distracted. He wants you so focused on the hurt that you miss what God is doing. He wants you fighting battles that don't even belong to you. He wants you wrapped up in bitterness, consumed by revenge, stuck in a cycle of frustration. But let me tell you something. You don't have time for that. You don't have time to be caught up in drama, to be stuck in what was, to be replaying conversations that God already closed the door on. Because where God is taking you, you can't afford to be distracted. I know it's hard to watch people walk away like they never cared. I know it's painful to see people move on like you never mattered. But that's not your fight. That's not your burden. The God who called you, the God who anointed you, the God who brought you this far is saying, let me handle it. And when God steps in, when He takes over, He doesn't just settle the battle, He elevates you in the process. Paul, somebody needs to hear this. The attack wasn't about you. It was about your purpose. It was about what God placed inside of you. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard if there wasn't something great on your life. The betrayal wasn't just an attack. It was a distraction. The rejection wasn't just pain. It was redirection. And the moment you stop fighting battles that don't belong to you is the moment you free yourself to step into everything God has for you. You see, sometimes God allows people to turn against you because He knows they can't go where He's taking you. Sometimes He allows the hurt so that you finally let go of things you should have released a long time ago. You would have never walked away on your own. You would have kept holding on, hoping they'd change, hoping they'd come around, hoping they'd see your worth. But God had to let it break so that He could build something better. So what do you do now? Do you hold on to anger? Do you let bitterness take root? Do you fight to make them see what they lost? No, you stand still. You trust God. You keep moving forward, because while you're focused on them, God is focused on you. While you're watching what they're doing, God is preparing something greater for you. And when He moves, when He vindicates you, when He lifts you up, it won't be because you fought for it. It'll be because He did. God is saying, let it go. Stop fighting. Stand still and watch what I'm about to do. Just because you don't see God moving doesn't mean He's not working. Just because it looks like they got away with it doesn't mean they did. Just because the storm is raging now doesn't mean God has lost control. You see, we live in a world that teaches us that justice should be immediate. If somebody wrongs us, we want to see them fall. If they lied on us, we want to see the truth exposed. If they betrayed us, we want to see them pay for it. But God doesn't work on human timing. God doesn't need to rush. He doesn't need to react. He moves with precision. He moves with purpose. And when he decides to step in, his justice is perfect. That's where so many of us struggle, because we don't like to wait. We want God to show up now. We want to see them reap what they sowed now. But let me ask you something. If God had punished you the moment you made a mistake, where would you be? If God had exposed you the first time you messed up, would you have been ready? See, we love mercy when it's for us, but we demand judgment when it's for others. And that's why we have to trust that God knows what he's doing. He gives people time to repent. He gives them space to make it right. But if they don't, if they keep walking in arrogance, if they refuse to acknowledge they're wrong, then he steps in. And when he does, you better believe justice will be served. Now I know what you're thinking. You're saying, but why does it look like they're winning? Why does it seem like the people who hurt me are thriving? Oh, I know that pain. I know what it's like to watch the very people who tried to destroy you walk around like they did nothing wrong. It's frustrating, it's painful, and if you're not careful, it will consume you. But hear me today. What looks like a blessing can be a setup for a fall. What looks like success can be God allowing them to build themselves up just to bring them low. Because the word says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. That means every action has a consequence. Every deed has a return. And no one escapes the justice of God. Sometimes God will let them go on for a season because he's setting things up in a way that brings him the most glory. Sometimes he lets them look like they're winning, because when they fall, there will be no denying that it was his hand at work. And by the time it happens, you won't even be thinking about them anymore. By the time God deals with them, you'll be so blessed, so elevated, so far ahead that you won't even care. That's why you can't waste your energy watching their life. Stop checking their social media. Stop listening to what people are saying about them. Stop trying to see if they're suffering yet. That's not your concern. God is handling it. And when he does, you don't want to be so caught up in their downfall that you miss your own breakthrough. You see, God doesn't just deal with those who hurt you. He also heals you in the process. And that's what the enemy doesn't want you to realize. The enemy wants you stuck in bitterness, obsessed with revenge, consumed by what they did. But if you let that go, if you shift your focus back to God, you'll start to see that he's been blessing you all along. While you were waiting for them to fall, God was building you up. While you were watching them, God was positioning you. And when you finally release it, when you finally stop worrying about when God is going to move, that's when you step into everything he has for you. So let me ask you, are you willing to trust God's timing? Are you willing to believe that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening? Because if you do, if you can release it and truly trust that God is in control, you will see his justice unfold in a way that no human effort could accomplish. And when it happens, you'll realize it was never about them. It was about you, about your growth, about your healing, about your destiny. God's justice is perfect. You don't have to worry. You don't have to fight. You don't have to wonder when it will happen. Just trust him because he's already working. There comes a moment when you have to decide what's more important, your destiny or your distraction. Because let me tell you something, the enemy is strategic. He doesn't just attack you for no reason. He studies you. He watches you. He knows exactly what buttons to push, exactly what wounds to press, exactly what people to send into your life to keep you from walking in the fullness of what God has for you. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years fighting battles that were never yours to fight, stuck in cycles that were designed to keep you from moving forward. You see, one of the biggest tricks of the enemy is to keep you so focused on the pain of what they did that you never step into the promise of what God is doing. He wants you to rehearse the hurt. He wants you to stay in that place of anger, that place of resentment, that place of needing validation. But hear me. When you allow what they did to define you, you are giving them power that does not belong to them. You are allowing people who were only meant to be a lesson to become a limitation. But God didn't call you to be limited. He called you to be victorious. He called you to rise above it. He called you to be healed. I know it's hard to move on when there's no apology. I know it's hard to let go when they don't acknowledge the pain they caused. But let me tell you something. Your healing is not tied to their confession. Your breakthrough is not dependent on their realization. If you are waiting for them to say sorry before you move forward, you will be waiting forever. Because some people will never admit what they did. Some people will never give you the closure you think you need. But God is saying, I am your closure. I am your healing. I am your restoration. So let it go. Let go of the need to prove anything to anybody. Let go of the desire to be understood by people who were never meant to understand you. Let go of the weight of trying to make them see what they refuse to see. Because the moment you release it, the moment you stop looking back, the moment you make up your mind that nothing is worth forfeiting what God has for you, that's when true freedom begins. And that's the part the enemy doesn't want you to realize. He doesn't mind you being hurt. He minds you being healed. He doesn't mind you being bitter. He minds you being better. Because when you heal, you break the cycle. When you move on, you prove that what they did couldn't stop what God ordained. When you refuse to be trapped by resentment, you step into a level of strength that the enemy never wanted you to have. Oh, I feel this for somebody. You have been carrying something for too long. You have been holding on to something that should have been released a long time ago. You keep replaying it. You keep analyzing it. You keep wondering if things could have been different. But God is saying enough. It's time to move forward. It's time to stop looking at what was and start walking into what is. Because the longer you hold on to what hurt you, the longer you delay what's meant to heal you. And here's the truth. There are some places God is trying to take you where that pain can't come. There are some blessings with your name on them that require a healed version of you. There are some doors that won't open until you lay that burden down. So I need you to decide today, are you going to stay where you are? Or are you going to trust that God has better? Are you going to keep feeding the pain, or are you going to starve it by refusing to give it your energy? Are you going to let what they did define your future, or are you going to declare, I will not be bound by what broke me? Because the moment you decide to move forward, heaven backs you up. The moment you refuse to stay stuck in what was, God accelerates what will be. The moment you lay it at his feet, he restores, he renews, he lifts you up in a way that makes it undeniable that his hand was on your life the entire time. So stop looking back. Stop waiting for them to see your worth. Stop trying to make sense of what doesn't make sense. God is saying, trust me. I've already gone before you. I've already made the way. I've already prepared what's next. But you can't grab hold of what's ahead if you're still clinging to what's behind. Let it go and watch what God is about to do. There comes a time when you have to realize that not everybody who walked away was a loss. Not everybody who left your life was a mistake. Some people had to go because if they had stayed, they would have contaminated what God was trying to do in you. And I know it hurt. It didn't make sense. It felt like betrayal, abandonment, rejection. But if you could see what God sees, if you could understand the weight of the calling on your life, you would know that some people had to be removed because they were never meant to have access to where God is taking you. And that's a hard thing to accept because we are emotional beings. We attach, we invest, we give our love, our time, our energy. And when people walk away, we feel like something was stolen from us. But let me tell you, if they could walk away, they were never meant to stay. If they could leave your life so easily, then their season was already up. And you have to stop chasing people that God has already dismissed. You have to stop grieving relationships that God has already closed the door on. Because every time you try to hold on to what God is trying to remove, you delay the blessing that's supposed to come next. See, God is intentional. He doesn't just allow people to leave for no reason. Sometimes He is protecting you from something you can't see. Sometimes He is making room for something greater. Sometimes He is testing your trust. Will you hold on to me even when I take something you thought you needed? Will you trust my plan even when it doesn't feel good? Will you believe that I know what's best for you even when it hurts? Because let's be honest, some of the people we are crying over were never really for us to begin with. Some of the people we are mourning were the very ones who were draining us, the very ones who were speaking against us behind closed doors, the very ones who would have sabotaged our future if God had allowed them to stay. But in His mercy, He removed them. And instead of thanking Him, we get stuck in our feelings. We start questioning why. We start looking back like we lost something valuable, when in reality, we gained our freedom. Oh, I feel this for somebody. God didn't take them from you. He rescued you from them. God didn't allow that door to close to punish you. He closed it to protect you. God didn't end that relationship to hurt you. He ended it to heal you. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you can stop wasting your tears over people who were never assigned to your destiny in the first place. See, when God is elevating you, He has to separate you. He has to cut some things off. He has to strip away the distractions. Because some people were comfortable with you where you were, but they weren't equipped to handle where you're going. Some people loved the old version of you, but they wouldn't have been able to handle the anointed, elevated, powerful version of you that God is raising up. And if you had kept them around, they would have pulled you back. They would have kept you small. They would have talked you out of your purpose. So stop feeling bad for outgrowing people. Stop feeling guilty because God is shifting you, stretching you, maturing you. You can't shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. You can't hold on to relationships that keep you from walking fully in what God has for you. And listen to me, when God removes, He always replaces. When He takes something away, He always brings something better. But you can't receive what's next if your hands are still full of what was. You can't step into your next season if you're still clinging to the last one. I need you to shift your focus. Stop looking at who left. Stop worrying about who walked away. The people who are meant to walk with you in this next season will not have to be forced to stay. The ones God has assigned to your life will align with your calling. They will celebrate your growth. They will push you toward your destiny. And when that happens, you will look back and realize that what you thought was a loss was actually the greatest gain. So hear me today. Release it. Release the pain. Release the disappointment. Release the regret. Stop fighting to hold on to what God has already decided is over. Because if you trust Him, if you really believe that He knows what's best for you, then you can rest in the fact that every departure, every closed door, every goodbye was part of His plan. And when it's all said and done, you will see that He never took anything from you without the intention of giving you something greater in return. There is a moment when God makes it clear, vengeance is not yours, it belongs to Him. And I know that's hard to hear when you've been wrong, when you've been betrayed, when you've been mistreated, because in our humanity, we want justice. We want people to feel what they made us feel. We want them to experience the same pain they put us through. But the problem is, when you take justice into your own hands, you remove yourself from God's process. When you try to settle the score, you step outside of divine order. And the truth is, your version of justice will never compare to God's. See, God sees things you don't see. He knows the weight of the calling on your life. He knows where he's taking you. And he also knows that revenge is a trap. The enemy wants you to be so consumed with getting even that you lose sight of your purpose. He wants you to spend so much energy proving a point that you never reach your destiny. But hear me, your future is too big to waste time trying to pay people